Jane Velez-Mitchell, Jane Unchained, breaking news. We are speaking to Silvana Andrade, who is in Brazil right now, dealing with one of the worst horrors happening in the world today, and very few people are talking about it. It is the absolute destruction. I'm going to show you some headlines right now of this gorgeous area, the Pantanal, a natural region in South America, the largest wetlands in the world. And guess what's happening? It's going up in flames, just like the west coast of the United States, just like the Amazon. This lesser known area of Brazil also goes into Bolivia and Paraguay, going up in flames, and it's killing thousands of animals, torturing them to death. They're burning alive. So please tell us the situation. We've got tons of videos to show people, but Silvana, give us the headline.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for the space. It's so nice to talk with you, Jane. The situation is very, very tragic here, and the federal government does nothing, anything. In Pantanal, unfortunately, already 25%, a quarter of the area is already gone. It's gone. It's completely destroyed by the fire. And for you have an idea, the temperature there is around 128 Fahrenheit. It's so sad. I'm sorry about my black circles
before you go any further, I want to show some video. We've got tons of video that you sent us. So let's check this out because it really is. It's really sad, but we've got to do something about it. We've got to stop it. It's up to all of us.
Vocês não tem nenhum retrator? Ela tá muito desidratada. Não. Tá bem desidratado. Não faço pelos limites mais não. Vai ter que esperar hidratar.
All right, that is an animal. Tell us what kind of animal and where you found that animal and what's being done.
Yes. Jaguar. It's a jaguar because the area of the preserved for the jaguars are completely destroyed. They just have maybe 5%, just 5%. And when this jaguar was found with his paws completely burnt and dehydrated. Unfortunately, he died. And in Pantanal, we have 2,000 species of plants and almost 200 mammals like jaguars, and 600 species of birds, and 300 species of fishes, and reptiles and amphibians, around 200 species. And all of them are in very, very dangerous, you know, and we estimate that maybe 30 species will disappear because of the fires, the criminal fires. It's important to say because the fires are criminal according, inclusive the federal police. You know,
and why are they setting everything on fire? Well, I know in the Amazon, it's to create cattle grazing land. Is there also that cattle grazing land issue in the Pantanal?
Yes, yes. And all volunteers and all activists are fighting to save the animals, but
people weren't eating animals.
Yes,
there wouldn't be a need to destroy everything.
Yes, and
cattle grazing land. Let's take another look at another horror video.
They put fire, yes, to increase the animal agriculture there, you know, because we already have problems. Amazon is still in fire, The fire in Pantanal is increasing, including right now the areas was destroyed by the fire now have fires again, and they are putting fire to make a space for animal agriculture.
Anybody who's horrified by this, if you're eating animals because it's a global trade, meat that is dead animals that are chopped up in Brazil end up in China and the United States and Canada. It's global trade. If you're eating animals, I'm sorry to say it, but you're the problem. You're why this is happening. And if everybody just transitioned away from that, because you can't say, oh, this is terrible. I feel terrible. Oh, this is horrible. It's happening. It's the law of supply and demand. And the government of Brazil, we know that Bolsonaro, the president, is described as the Trump of the tropics. He's totally in favor of burning everything up for industry. But guess what? We're not going to have any industry if the world becomes too hot to support human life. You're talking about it being on average, what did you say, 128 degrees Fahrenheit?
Yes, and last week we had another new problem because the environment minister, the Minister of Environment, Ricardo Salles, just said that the rules and the regulations and the laws that protect the sandbanks and mangroves, they said no, they don't exist anymore, because they were attending shrimp farmers and real estate sector to build in these areas hotels and new buildings.
Well, let me tell you, even hotels and new buildings, terrible in a wetlands, terrible.
Yes,
but
yes.
Globally, the amount of land used for human beings to live on is like this compared to farmland. So
yes,
it's not
I
just
agree.
the cattle grazing, it's growing crops to feed all the farm animals who eat most of the food produced in the world. So we're 7.8 billion humans, but we're forcibly impregnating, torturing and industrialized agriculture and killing 70 billion cows, pigs, chickens, turkeys, goats who are eating all the time. All they do is keep them in tight enclosures so that they eat and they don't burn calories. And then with pigs, for example, they kill them at 6 months of age. So again, the reason why most of this habitat is being destroyed is because people eat animals. And
yes, and please don't countries don't buy meat from Brazil.
Don't buy meat.
Yes.
Don't buy meat. Don't buy
meat.
Anywhere it's destroying.
Yes.
It's destroying it here in the United States. They're killing the Thule elk, the elk that are dying of thirst in the Point Reyes National Seashore here in California because the dairy farmers want that land for their animals.
Yes.
Okay, so let's take a look at another video from.
Yes, please.
It's too awful. What animal is that? And obviously, the animal is in distress. What?
She's a tapir. Tapir. The species is tapir. Tapir.
Obviously, they're burning alive. They're burning alive. They're found like I couldn't even handle all the pictures that were sent of these animals. Literally, they're frozen as they're burnt.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, we are the invasive species. That's what it's starting to look like. Humans, we are destroying everything. 68% of all wildlife has been destroyed in the last 50 years. You know, I did a documentary called Countdown to Year Zero. Okay. It's on Amazon Prime. Yeah. And it says, watch it before it's too late. We profile someone who says by 2026, we will have killed all the wildlife with the exception of maybe rats and squirrels.
Yeah.
All of the wildlife will be gone. Wildlife vertebrates, what you're talking about. And when that happens, there's going to be an ecological collapse that is going to make life uninhabitable for everyone, including humans on this planet. I mean, you can't, there's a cycle of life. There's a connection between animals, whether it's pollination, whether it's birds. And if we're killing all of them, our system will collapse, and we are killing all of them. And you know, it's all for cattle grazing. I'll show you the photo of the cattle at Point Reyes. Okay, here. They did a documentary, The Shame of Point Reyes. It's a national park.
Yes.
It is inhabited by these Thule elk. These elk are being deprived of water and being shot because the government is beholden to the cattle and dairy industry that wants the land for themselves, because it's which animals are going to chew the grass and drink the water. And so, you know, the tragedy of it is that it's such short-sighted thinking. I mean, you're talking about is the largest wetlands in the world. You sent me a video showing the devastation. Let's look at it. That's a very rare animal. Tell me what that animal, what species?
I'm sorry, I don't know. It's in Brazil. It's called tamanduá, and is endangered species. Probably will be extinct soon. You know. I'm sorry, Jane. I feel so exhausted because I just cry. I can't sleep. I work maybe 16, 17 hours a day. And then when I try to sleep, I just wake up, you know, because the situation is so sad. And sometimes I feel helpless. All activists actually feel helpless. My NGO is going to the Supreme Court to ask the federal government and the government from Mato Grosso do Sul and Mato Grosso, they have to pay for this disaster. First of all, Bolsonaro says to everybody, put in the press, okay, they can put fire because they need to survive with cattle industry, you know.
There's no need for the cattle industry. The cattle industry, the meat industry, the animal agriculture industry is the largest destructive force on the planet today.
Yes.
It is destroying the Amazon. It is destroying the area where you are trying to protect, the wetlands called the Pantanal, which nobody really knows. I mean, very few people know about that. We all know about the Amazon, which is also on fire. So they're burning down Brazil.
Yes, whole Brazil.
We need to do that for jobs. You know, they've used jobs to justify everything. They use jobs to justify slavery. They use jobs to justify keeping women out of the workforce. They use jobs anytime they want to just get away with something. It's actually going to destroy jobs, because if we have no ability to even walk outside because it's so hot, there's not going to be any tourism. Look at zoonotic pandemic that we're all experiencing now, that jumped from animals to humans because of our abuse of wildlife. Okay, it went from a bat to a pangolin and then to a wet slaughter market in China. If we lived in a plant-based world, we wouldn't be having this pandemic right now. Even that direct evidence, that overwhelming evidence
Yes.
We are a supremely self-destructive species.
Yes.
But we are at a point that has never been experienced in world history. We are literally barreling towards extinction. All of us.
Yeah, and Jane, it's also a public health issue because people are dying because they smoke. People are dying because the climate, today and yesterday, the humidity in some cities close to Pantanal was 80%, just 80. It's impossible you survive in this area, so it's also the government needs to think about the public health, because the public health will be in collapse soon. In Brazil, we have Amazon in fire, Pantanal in fire. They are trying to destroy mangroves and sandbanks. And now in Minas Gerais, in the center of the state, we have fires in the state park.
And it says here, your environmental minister under Bolsonaro is called the Terminator, and he's rolling back more environmental protections. The same thing is happening. Similar things are happening here. But these are the lungs of the earth. The Amazon and the Pantanal are the lungs of the earth. Why? Because trees sequester carbon. So when you destroy all the trees, you're destroying the ability to keep the temperature down. So it's going to accelerate global warming. You don't have to be a nuclear physicist or a top PhD to get the idea. Trees absorb carbon. Carbon makes the world hotter. You wipe out all the trees, the earth is going to get hotter and hotter. We're experiencing it here on the west coast of the United States, where it's hit 130 degrees, not far from where I'm sitting right now, where I smelled smoke yesterday from wildfires all the way up in Northern California, and I'm in Los Angeles. What more evidence do we need? Not to mention, what kind of an economy are we going to have if people can't even walk across the street without fainting from either the smoke or because you have a pandemic and you can't travel or because it's just too hot? I mean, I experienced that, I would say 8 years ago. I was in Texas and I happened to have a couple extra hours after going to a conference, and I was going to go over and see the Alamo. I walked outside. I was carrying a little overnight suitcase. It was so hot. I said, forget about it. It's too hot. I mean, there's no tourism when it's 125 degrees. There's no tourism. There's no tourism in a zoonotic pandemic. We're destroying, and the irony is they're touting business as the reason why we have to do this. It's going to destroy business too.
Yes,
Silvana.
Yes, for sure. Economy, tourism, all economy, and the next generations, they are next, own generation. They even think about their own family. I don't understand. I can't understand because I know they are mean. They are selfish. They are very ambitious, materialist, but they don't think in their own family. Grandsons, even own children. I don't understand. Jane, if you could show some images from the fires and the animals trying to escape.
Here, I want to know a little bit about the people you're working with.
Mas vai lá com o Delfim na lâmpada, porque aí não precisa uma mão.
Ele
aqui.
disse que tinha em cima da geladeira dessa.
Vê nesse armário aí. Olha lá, em cima da geladeira, ó.
So those wonderful people, who are they?
They are activists, animal rights activists. And I would love to do a coalition with animal rights activists and animal rights NGOs from US, from Canada, from Europe, because we need a lot of help here. Most of us don't have money, and we just work with our hands and buckets, and with heart. And we need to do a collision because now the problem is in Pantanal, but in the future we can help in other countries, and everybody went there with your own money. Just one NGO did a fundraiser and got a lot of money. But the rest, no. The rest went there and is there with own money.
Let me take a look at this video. We'll just. What animal is that, and what's the story of that particular animal? It seems obviously his ears are burned, but what happened there?
I think the name in English is tapir. Tapir? I'm not sure. I'm sorry, but were rescued from an area because the problem is not just the fire. The land is so hot. It's like
they have
100 meters above.
Drought.
They don't have
like
water.
The
100.
They have water, so it's going to kill them one way or another. And let me tell you, the immigration crisis that everybody talks about, finally, somebody from the New York Times went down there and found out, oh, these are subsistence farmers who for generations were tilling their own land, growing their own food, and living that simple, beautiful life. Well, they can't do it anymore because that land is not temperate anymore. It can't sustain a family just living off the land because it goes from drought to extreme wind to extreme rain and back and forth. The temperate climate is gone because of climate change. Yes. All of our problems stem from our consumption of animals.
Yes.
All of them.
The
healthcare crisis, people are dying, 210,000 people of COVID, which is a zoonotic disease. Before that, the leading killer, and it may still be, I don't know exactly how you compare COVID to heart disease, but 1 out of every 4 Americans was dying of heart disease, which is caused by arteries to the heart getting clogged with cholesterol, which only comes from animal products. And then you have processed meat is cancer causing. So hamburger, bacon, hot dogs, deli slices. And then, of course, the fast food obesity crisis, which is mostly meat and dairy. And then you have world hunger because these animals eat most of the food on the planet. So people are starving. If you took all the 75% or more of all soy grown goes into farm animals, pigs and cows. It doesn't go into human beings. You could turn that food around and end world hunger. We could live in a world of natural abundance. And when you present these articles to people, when you present these arguments and you say, look, climate change, human world hunger, deforestation, habitat destruction, what you get is, I love your passion. Talk to you later. I mean, how much more? That's why I did this documentary, Countdown to Year Zero, because it lays it out. Because I work with a Stanford systems analyst engineer who has a plan to get the world to go plant-based by 2026. And, you've got the Beyond Meats now and the Impossible Foods. Even the biggest meat producer in the world, one of the top meat producers in the world, JBS, a Brazilian company. You're in right now. They have a whole vegan product line that just got certified vegan. It's 100% vegan. It tastes just like meat. In fact, one of our contributors tried to taste test it. She's vegan from birth. She said, I can't eat it. It's too meat. It tastes too much like meat. I can't. If you can make something that tastes exactly like meat, that is better for you, it's not going to give you a heart attack or cancer, that will stop the destruction of the rainforest, habitat destruction, wildlife extinction, climate change catastrophe, human world hunger. Why can't we get people to make that switch? In Brazil, because sometimes the most frustrating thing is that people who are the biggest environmentalists, then they'll go out and they'll eat a steak. Are you seeing that there in Brazil?
Yeah. So just talking about something you told, it's very ironic because GBS it's now asking to the federal government, please help the Pantanal. So JBS, Unilever, and some huge companies which destroyed the world is united with some environment NGOs against the federal government. How is it possible? you know,
You
it's
know,
very ironic, and people don't
yeah.
want to make the link because it's very convenient for
Well,
them.
it's actually not convenient.
And
I'm sorry, but it's just self-destructive. Look, I'm not coming from up
yeah,
here. I was an alcohol. I am a recovering alcoholic, 25 years sober. When I was in my disease of alcoholism, you couldn't say anything to me. I had to hit bottom. Sometimes
yes,
people hit bottom when their house goes up in flames. But can they make the connection? That's the thing. I see people having barbecues. Let's help the victims of the fires, the wildfires. Let's have a barbecue. No, that's not what you should
no,
have, is a meat barbecue to help the victims of the wildfires. The meat on that barbecue is the reason why you had the wildfires. But, people aren't making the connection because they don't want to make the connection. The best and the brightest, the smartest people at the New York Times, at MSNBC, at CNN, this is not brain surgery. It's
yeah,
very simple math, but they don't want to make the connection. They don't
no,
want to make the connection, and we're all going to pay the price for it. This is
yeah,
the big horror. So what I say to anybody, first, don't be part of the problem. If this bothers you, step back and say, okay, I'm going to change what I can change personally, little old me, to make this slightly less of a crisis. But what are your plans? Like, what are you doing? Are you doing any kind of actions? Here we have Direct Action Everywhere. We have PETA. We have organizations that are, mounting challenges. Direct Action Everywhere just went into a slaughterhouse the other day, and a bunch of people were arrested. Did they get arrested at the Capitol? What is happening in Brazil?
my NGO, we post around 40 articles a day.
Wow.
We did public civil action. It's like class action. I don't know how to say in English. In the Supreme Court against Bolsonaro and against the government from Mato Grosso do Sul and Mato Grosso. We are also supporting some activists who are there. But no actions in the street. We have been trying hard. In Brazil, it's very different to be activists because now we suffer lots of threats. UNDA, the website of UNDA, has been suffering 15 million cyber attacks a month. Because of that, Cloudflare, a company from US, saw our situation, give to us protection, and and the threats by phone, because here just kill. The last year, according to Global Witness, they already killed 24 activists.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, be careful, be safe. We don't want to do anything to get you in any kind of physical danger. Wow, that is sobering. That is sobering.
Yes. Yes.
And
now we're more, how can I say, vulnerable because we have a process, in the Supreme Court against them. And yes, just please stay close, because we need support from other NGOs.
What you're doing in Brazil is very similar to what we're doing at Jane Unchained. We're also a nonprofit news media for animal rights.
Yes, I know.
We would love to partner with you. because
Great. Will be a pleasure.
in the vegan world, we don't do competition. Like, I want somebody to do it better than me. Put me out of business.
No, we are sisters. We are family.
Sisters. That's why we work very closely with theirturn.net, which is Donnie Moss in New York doing animal rights news, with Plant-Based News, which is in London,
Yes.
Klaus Mitchell and Robbie Lucky doing animal rights news, Lady Freethinker here in LA doing animal rights news, and of course, Veg News, who has been so supportive of our vegan cooking shows on Amazon Prime, doing animal rights news, and Live Kindly, and there's we are all in it together because we're not in it.
Yes, perfect.
We're in it to wake people up. Wake people up, please. We don't have much time left.
No, we don't have. And I'll be very happy because this is my dream, and my dream has come true. Remember, I would like to be united, because if you work alone, not just because you want, because that's the way it's possible, but I would love to be like in a chain, giant chain.
Yes, we
all
do
together, because I can contribute and you can contribute, everybody can contribute with, and for the animals, for the planet. Brazil is passing for, I have no words to say. Sometimes I feel really helpless, and sometimes I will never give up. But sometimes I feel alone, and there is so much to do. And I thank you, because now we can work together.
Yes, we will work together. You're not alone. We're sisters in the struggle, and you're never alone. Know that. So we're going to work together offline to put you into Jane Unchained and to feature you, and you can take any of our content anytime you want. I say that to everybody. Anybody can use any of our content at any time.
Yes.
And that is perfectly fine. And let's do it together, because I do have hope in the law of unintended consequences. Again, getting back to my documentary, we profiled Dr. Silas Rao, who is confident that we're going to have a vegan world by 2026. That doesn't mean there's going to be vegan police driving around saying, are you wearing a leather belt? What it means is that we're going to transition to a plant-based culture with food and lifestyle, where we're already seeing it. Look at the COVID-19 outbreaks in the slaughterhouses. Okay.
Yes. Okay.
It's 1,000. It's a hotspot. It's a hotspot of COVID. What is nature telling us?
Yes.
And so you have that, and you have studies now in investigating. Can COVID be transmitted on meat? Because that was a living creature that died, and it's different than just a can. And so, there's those concerns. There's the concerns about the next pandemic, which is a very real possibility. These are zoonotic diseases. There's a pig virus in China that's been documented that jumped from pigs to humans in China. And so, even the heads of these horrible industries look at JBS, started a meatless line. If we could convince them that it's in their self-interest to phase out animal agriculture, and let me just say this, the first country that embraces plant-based as a policy, as opposed to what we're doing in the United States now, which is underwriting these industries, forcing meat and dairy on school children, even though most school kids are allergic to dairy. It's caused everything from acne to dandruff to asthma to all sorts of things. We're not cows. We're not meant to drink the breast milk of cows. So, our government stockpiles cheese in cheese caves, And one of the reasons why they want us to go back right away, get those school kids in there, because then they can get them drinking milk, because kids don't drink milk anymore at home. This isn't leave it to Beaverland where everybody wakes up and has a glass of milk. They're more likely to crave a green juice. So the consumers' tastes are changing. Plant-based products are skyrocketing in this pandemic. So have heart. I understand your sense of despair because you're right there on the front lines dealing with seeing the death and destruction of this largest wetlands in the world. Okay, the largest wetlands. I just want to, for anybody joining us, we're talking about fires raging through the Pantanal, which is mostly in Brazil, but it jumps over to Bolivia and Paraguay. And it's killing all the jaguars and all the other animals that are there. You can see that it's fires. It's just like what's happening in the Amazon, but they're not talking about it as much. But this is home to 5,000 species. And so what's happening is that these species are being tortured. They're going extinct. And not only that, but the worst part, or one of the worst parts, is that the government is rolling back the environmental regulations and saying, go, set the fires, burn up, burn our whole country down.
It's like Nero, you know?
Yeah, Nero. Yeah, absolutely.
I think they feel pleasure to see this destruction, you know? Oh, okay, it's good. We asked them to send planes with water, but they said, oh no, we are sending bullshit. No, they didn't. So I don't know if you have some images, a video that shows fires and cows and other animals trying to escape. I don't know if you have, but it's so sad.
Well,
it's so sad.
You know, you sent me about 20 video clips, and I was trying to get through, or 30 video clips, so I could see if there's any more that I have. Was looking at them all. They were all so terribly depressing. But here, okay, here we go. I'll upload one right now and open it up and see what happens and show our viewers. If you're just joining us, we're talking to this incredible woman who runs a sort of like, I would say, the Jade Unchained of Brazil, which is called ANDA. It is an animal rights news agency. And you see that we're talking about the world's largest wetlands going up in flames. And that's the problem. There's just so many of them that so many of these fires that it's absolutely impossible. Let's check this out. All right, that's sad, but that's it. There you go.
Yes.
So you're saying that people get pleasure out of setting the fires, like arsonists, like
yes,
wow.
Yes. The Bolsonaro, Ricardo Salles, the Minister of Environment. You know, they just laugh. There is a video, an interview, and someone asked Bolsonaro about Pantanal, and he laughs like a psychopath. You know, it's.
What about the people of Brazil?
Part of Brazilian still support Bolsonaro. It's a craziness. I can't understand, but I can't understand. But maybe 35% of Brazilian, support them. It's crazy, you know, and the activists just work each day more and more, you know, because I personally, I sleep 5 hours a night, 4 or 5 hours. That's why I'm with my huge black circles, and we are emotionally exhausted as well. Sometimes we just cry because we can't do more than we are doing. And but everything's in fire, everything in Brazil. It's so sad, and the world needs to help us and to look and see what is happening here. Is so serious because now it's here in Brazil, but the consequence will be around the world, not just here, not just for our animals, but for all animals and for all planets.
So I'm showing a couple more pictures. They're so depressing.
Great.
Tell us this story.
This is a deer, and he was burned alive.
So for those who are laughing, there's just an element of sadism. Wow. I mean, sometimes I'm left with no words. And, we've got here in America and around the Western world, people running around with their yoga and their ahimsa and, do everything with love. But if they're eating bacon or hamburgers or their keto diet with all sorts of meat or feeding their animals a bunch of meat, they're the reason why all this violence is happening. And we're trying to explain, and in Brazil too.
Yes.
In Brazil too.
Sorry, but they are selfish because they are thinking just about them. We need to serve. We need to serve the planet. We need to serve the animals. We need to serve the vulnerable people. In Brazil, we have indigenous people who are dying from COVID-19, from the fires, from the hunger, and the government says, "Oh, I don't like indigenous people," and do nothing. So here we have many causes to fight. I also fight for indigenous people here, and they are suffering a lot as well, because they protect the forest, and they are dying as well. They are from miners, invasions, invasion like hunters. How can I say? Cut trees.
Loggers, yes, but
loggers.
Is a byproduct. The primary reason why the
yes, the cattle industry,
yes, the cattle industry, and so I think a key is there an environmental movement? Because there's a global environmental movement. Obviously, Greta Thunberg, who is a vegan, who doesn't eat animals. Came here to the United States, and she conspicuously didn't talk about it. She managed to blurt it out once on the Ellen Show. But other than that, she talked about fossil fuels in general, which is not something that people can control as much as they can control. Like, we could begin to reverse climate change tomorrow if everybody went plant-based. We could start reforesting the farmlands, stopping these fires, letting the habitat repair, and the temperature would lower. That would decrease the drought, and we could be on the road to recovery. But that's something that I think that the powers that be are very afraid of, because it's a very concrete action that people can take. Each and every one of us can take that action.
Yeah, Jane, we are almost in the turning point in the Amazon. We just have 1 year in the Amazon. After that, forget. The turning point, people, please listen. The turning point in the Amazon is we just have 1 year to try to change, to try not to destroy it, you know. And so
Well,
I'm pessimist about our future, you know, and the next years, because I don't know if you know, but we have rivers in the air, you know. The Amazons brings to us in Southeast and in the whole country, but especially here in the South and Southeast, uh, humidity from these um, rivers in the air, you know, and they are gone. That's why in São Paulo we have almost uh, 100 more, in fact, more than 100 Fahrenheit. It's historical. It's so hot here, and here you
it's hot
used to
here
be,
too. It's hot
you
here.
know, but
Uh,
São Paulo used to
I have
be
friends who
cold.
have houses in Palm Springs and they can't visit them. It's too hot. I mean, they could, but
Yeah,
they would just sit inside their air-conditioned homes.
yes,
I mean,
and more,
Death Valley is, I think it hit 130 degrees. I mean, this is not livable temperatures. So
yes,
the fact that people are in denial about it, well, you know, we just do the next indicated thing and stay out of the results. That's all
yeah,
we can do to save as many animals as we can, get as much information out. But, you know, as Ingrid Newkirk, the founder of PETA, says, and I always listen to her, being sad doesn't help the animals. Being sad doesn't help the wildlife. And it just debilitates us. So when I have those feelings, I say, if I do something, whatever I do, then I'm more effective as a person who's hopeful. So
yes,
I choose to be hopeful. But if we become extinct, well, we can say that you and I have done our best. We've done our best to
yes.
wake people up. If the planet, you know, look,
We're
we're in the beginning. We're in the midst, not the beginning, the midst of the sixth mass extinction. Dinosaurs were very powerful creatures, and they went extinct. So it's not inconceivable that humans could go extinct if we destroy the planet. It's a very finite space.
yeah,
And I'm sure that there are points in history during the pandemic. I've been spending a lot of time looking at old documentaries or new documentaries about old times, which are colorized. So they look like they're happening today. And I'm sure at points during World War I which was a horrifically violent war that lasted a long time, you know, and killed so many people. And during the time of World War II, when just the imagery of all of the horror of it, where people lost hope and said, this is it.
yeah,
Our world is ending. So let's hope that we got past, we as a species can evolve. You know, what Dr. Rao, who I focus on in my documentary, says, nature is doing an intervention on us. Okay, we're addicted to eating animals and drinking the breast milk of an animal and eating the menstrual period of a chicken.
yeah,
And nature is sending us to our rooms and saying, you've been bad, go to your room, think about how you've been behaving, come out more evolved, or you're done as a species. So we all have to think about how we're living. I have readjusted my life a lot during this pandemic. So let's just be hopeful. Okay, I understand your despair, but be hopeful.
yes,
Keep doing what you're doing.
yeah,
We're going to work together.
yeah.
We're going to get the
You.
word out. You're not alone. And
Yeah,
you're my hero for all the incredible work you're doing. And once
you
again,
too.
you know,
You
we'll just
too.
show a couple of these just images are so sad of all these animals dying in the flames. They're going up in flames. And we'll just leave you with one video here. Oh my God, it's so terrible. It's so
Yes,
awful.
everything burning and no help from the federal government
Well, they're
and
the
the
ones
state
telling everybody to burn, burn, baby, burn.
Yeah,
You know, it's sad. It's very sad. It's very
yeah,
self-destructive. You know, people love Brazil because Brazil is a beautiful country filled with incredible,
yeah,
not just incredible people, but incredible wildlife. So
yes,
you're going to destroy what, look, it's happening all over the world. We're fighting, they want
yeah,
to destroy the wetlands here in LA. Here in LA, I just was working on it this morning.
yeah,
It's,
yeah,
you know, let's just kill all the wildlife and destroy everything. And then, oops, wait a second, we needed them. Now we're going under. Well,
yeah. But you are in LA. You know, I love you. I admire you.
I admire
I'm
you
your
too.
fan.
I'm
I'm
your
your
fan.
fan. You
All right.
know?
We are going to work together. Be
Yes.
strong, Silvana. Okay?
Yeah, I will. Thank
Juntos.
you.
I know that's Spanish,
Thank you.
but thank you so
It's
much.
okay. Yeah,
Bye.
thank you so much.
All
Thank you
right.
so
We'll
much
talk
for
soon.
everything.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
You're my hero.